Hey friends, welcome to my living room. So glad you could join me again for a 75-minute gentle flow practice. I hope you're all taking really good care of yourselves out there. I miss you very much. I miss teaching. So I'm glad that we could be together in this way. After you watch this video, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can always find me at katehowellyoga@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook, Kate Howell Yoga, or even on Instagram. So there are many ways to reach out. I hope to keep in touch with you. So let's get started. Set yourself up in a place where you can practice. Yoga mat. If you have a couple giant bath towels, that would be helpful. Or of course, yoga blankets or small blankets to use for blankets. And then I'm going to use my yoga blocks for this practice. If you don't have yoga blocks, it's no problem. You can mostly work around that instruction or choose like a variation in which you don't need to use the blocks. Or you can just pause the video and go grab some giant books. Anna Karenina, that works good. It's about the size of a block. Gray's Anatomy works good. So these can be used as yoga blocks as well. They're about the size of blocks, and for most things they'll work just as well. Okay, so I'm gonna head to my mat and get it set up. We'll begin in a supported bridge pose. So you're gonna take your block or your giant book, and when you come to recline, to lie down, let's start this way. Just go ahead and recline first. Sacrum is on the floor, and then take your block, and I'll recommend we bring it on the low height, and as you can see, that's about the height of a pretty large book. If when you slide it under your sacrum, your low back feels uncomfortable, like you can feel the press of that block, you can always put just one layer, like one towel or blanket over it to soften that feeling. But then go ahead and just kind of release the weight of the body into the support here that's beneath you. The feet are about hips width distance apart. The feet are parallel to one another. And here I'm going to really press down. Every time I lie on the floor, my cat thinks it's time to snuggle. So I'm just going to really press down into the balls of the feet and the heels, so much so that the arches of the feet lift up, and I might even peel my toes up off of the floor. And then I really feel the inner and outer edges of the feet rooting down. And then I'll spread my toes out nice and wide and release my feet to the floor. And then go ahead and breathing here, feel the center of the body, the full weight of the pelvis rooting down, the sacrum grounding, and the back of the ribcage softening down. Your hands here could rest on your bodies. That can feel like very grounding and comforting. Some people might like to release the arms beside, palms spinning up. Or you could even bring the arms out wide if you feel comfortable to do that, feeling that expansiveness across your chest. Taking a moment here just to really fully let the weight of your body settle into this new orientation, this new shape. Receive your inhalation slowly through your nostrils. Open the mouth and let that breath out with a sigh. Releasing the full weight of your body into the support that's beneath you. And as you continue to breathe here, begin to deepen your breath to really send it down into your low belly. Relaxing your bottom and the pelvic floor so that your belly can really expand. And as you exhale, let it go. The navel sinks down towards the spine. And the breath leaves the body. And as you continue to get very curious about that feeling of expansion down low in the belly. You might even feel a shift in the area around your sacrum at the low back. Maybe in the hips, the inner thighs. As you continue to breathe, expand your awareness, start to include the area around your rib cage so that as you draw breath in and your belly expands, also feel the side ribs might expand wide, the back of the rib cage press down, and exhale, everything softens in and down. We're bringing all of our awareness to the movement of breath in the body now to the changing sensations as we expand and release. And then continuing to expand awareness to include the area around your heart. So feel the front and back of the heart expand. The collarbones become broad and release with the exhale, feeling all of that expansion, a sense of release, and maybe a bit of engagement at the bottom as the navel sinks down towards the spine to squeeze breath out. So here we've cultivated what's called Dirga breath, which is just deep and slow. My cat is transfixed by the screen of the iPad. And bringing awareness to the movement in the body, the momentum, that feeling of how the inhale just effortlessly spills over into the exhale, that there's a release, but then a feeling of effort at the bottom if we pull the navel down to squeeze empty. And then notice there's a feeling of depth, and from that depth, the impulse for new breath arises, and then we fill with that breath. So our breath cycle is an illustration, really, an embodiment of the Om cycle. That sound Om, which signifies beginning, middle, end, and timelessness, or that sound of Om, which sometimes signifies creation, sustenance, and then the dissolving, and that which sustains all. But from that depth of dissolving, new beginnings rise. Same thing with the breath. So getting in touch with our breath is a way of reminding us of the cycle of all things. It's a way of reminding us that the exhale and the sense of emptiness in the bottom is not all there is, it's one phase. And in fact, it's a very fertile phase because it gives rise to that full new inhalation. Let's join our voices right here in the sound of Om together 3 times. I'm going to place my hands over my body, one to heart, one to belly. And so I can feel the vibration. I can feel the heartbeat and the movement of my breath. So I'll inhale here. Release your arms beside you and begin to cultivate a soft Ujjayi breath. Inhale and exhale through the nostrils, dragging breath across the base of your throat to cultivate a soft whisper sound. Turn the volume way up on the sound of your breath. It should be audible to you. Layering the sound of your breath on top of the depth of breath you've already begun to cultivate. With your next inhale, bring your right knee in towards your belly. Take your hands to the back of the thigh and hug in. At the same time, direct your right sitting bone away from your right shoulder, so down towards the end of your mat. This is just to keep the pelvis in a neutral orientation so that you don't crunch up on your right side. Extend your left leg long and flex the foot, pressing the heel away. And breathe here as you draw your right knee and thigh in. Press the left heel away so you feel all that length in the left side of your body, particularly in the front of the left hip. Move out of the way, girl. And inhaling here as you exhale. Bend your left knee, place the left foot to the floor, release your right foot down. And inhale, the left knee comes in, take your hands to the back of the thighs, squeeze in, and extend the right leg long as you're ready, breathing here. And it might be pretty subtle for some. It might feel more intense for others. It would be more intense particularly if you have your block on a taller height and you can make that adjustment, take it out of the way. It might be more intense if you just have more tension either in the low back or in the hip flexors. And so there's no right or wrong. Everything I offer is an invitation, and I really encourage you to explore the shape for yourself and see what gives you just the right sensation that you need. For some people, this may feel too intense, and if that was the case, you could do the same stretch without the block underneath the sacrum, and you may get a better result. So inhale here, exhale, bend the right knee, place the foot to the floor, and release both feet to the floor. So bring your arms close into the sides of your body now, just for support and kind of sense of grounding, balance. Lift both feet off of the floor. I'm going to flex my feet and bring my shins to about parallel to the floor. And now really keeping my sacrum rooted down, I'm going to take my second block here and place it in between my knees. That's going to keep my knees right over my hip points. Now, if I don't have a block, the book might be too heavy, and so I just would do without for this case, and just try and keep my knees hips width on their own. But if you're practicing along with me, the block also helps to engage the inner thighs, which the inner thighs, adductor muscles, are like a part of the core of the body. When we say the core, we don't just mean the belly, we mean the muscles deep to the center of the body, and that activation, inner thighs drawing in, can kind of help because they often fire together. The deep abdominal muscles engage, so you may feel that there's engagement here. It will feel kind of like a fist clenching beneath or below the navel. It might feel like your two hip points in the front of the pelvis are trying to cinch towards one another even though they won't move. As you do that, keep rooting your sacrum down. Maybe you can get a little more length through your low back and relax the back of the rib cage down. This is a way of engaging abdominal muscles, which is important to create length in the low back, but it's a kind of a gentler way of doing that than, let's say, holding plank for 10 minutes or something like that. So we'll inhale and we'll exhale, release the block, and gently lower the feet to the floor. Maybe we could do both feet at once. Yeah. And then arms close in. I'm going to bend my elbows, press down into my elbows, the fingertips to the sky and the palms facing. And then lift my hips up high. And as I lift my hips, I'll just take that block out of the way. Just move it this way so you can see what's going on. And then I'm going to lower down very gently, rippling down through my spine so the sacrum is the very last to arrive. Letting the sacrum arrive, I'm going to rock forward a bit towards my tailbone so I emphasize that curve in the low back. Now with the next exhale, I'll let my breath go completely, and then I'll press my sacrum to tilt my tailbone up. Now inhale, press my elbows, lift my hips, peel my spine up one vertebra at a time. Exhale, ripple down, using that whole exhale to get there, and all the way exhaling down to my tailbone. I'm just going to inhale fully, exhale, tuck my tail under, press into my heels with the next inhale, lift the hips up high, exhale, ripple down, all the way down to the tailbone. Inhale, do nothing. Exhale, let it go. Tuck my tail, press into my heels with the inhale, lift the hips up high. I'm going to stay here. Press down into your elbows, puff up the chest, the shoulder blades come deep into the back of your body. Press into your feet, your inner thighs hugging in. And then go ahead and lengthen your arms. And think about walking your hands under you. Some people will keep pressing palms down, and some people might clasp the hands beneath the body, pressing the pinky sides of the hands down and puffing the chest. Maybe you get a little bit higher. Now notice how the knees want to drift wide. Can you keep the feet parallel and the knees in line with the hips? Lifting the hips up high as you inhale, and exhale, arms out of the way. Ripple down from the very top of your spine to the bottom, to the sacrum. Allow the sacrum to land. Kind of ripple all the way down to the tailbone, and then rock back to the sacrum. let it go. We'll take a block here once again if you're using a block. If you're using books, again, they might be too heavy. In that case, just do without, keeping the knees, hips width on their own. Flex the feet here so the shins are parallel to the floor, and then bring your arms really out wide. Shoulder blades ground down, the spine is nice and long, and reconnect with your breath here. Now, as an inhale to keep the knees where they are and the sacrum rooted, and as you exhale, let your knees, lower half of the body, drift to the left. As you inhale, float your knees up so they stack over the hips. Exhale, let the knees drift to the right. And we'll continue side to side, moving with the rhythm of your breath. You're not going necessarily to the floor. You're only going as far as you can go without lifting the shoulder blade off of the floor. So as my knees drift to the right, I keep my left shoulder blade grounded, and vice versa. This side to side is strengthening the oblique muscles, the side abdominal muscles. It's, again, strengthening deep abdominal muscles, the transverse abdominis. It's allowing us to sort of integrate that momentum of breath in a very subtle or gentle way with movement of the body. So continuing to breathe, just kind of leaning into the different pockets of tension. It's also massaging the glutes. The next time you let your knees drift to the left with your exhale, let them go all the way down, even if the right shoulder does peel up. I'm going to take my block down to the lower height here. Some people prefer to remove it completely, so it's optional, it's your choice. Arms out wide, kind of press into your elbows and slide your shoulder blades a little bit more towards your left. And then see if that right shoulder blade will soften towards the floor just a little bit further. Keep breathing here with the right hip stacked over the left, in fact creating a little bit more length on that right side of your body. Feeling your collarbones broaden and your heart open. Noticing all the sensations here. Those are kind of nice and slow pace that we're moving at so that our body has a chance to adjust and respond to what we're asking it to do. And your gaze here could be right up at the ceiling. You could gaze over your right shoulder, giving your left side of your neck a little stretch. Your arms could stay out wide, or you could bring your right arm up beside the right ear. And as you reach out through those right fingertips, kind of peel your right hip point down towards the end of your mat. Just start to feel length on that right side, maybe stretch around the outer right hip. As you inhale, open the arms wide once again, and float your knees up towards the sky. So you might need to shift around to straighten yourself out if you've drifted. With an exhale, float your knees over to your right side. And then again, press into your elbows, slide your shoulder blades just a little bit more towards your right. That may allow you to soften left shoulder down a little bit further. Your left shoulder might pop off of the floor. If that's the case, you could put a blanket there if it's uncomfortable. If it's way up high, just take your left hand to a place that feels more kind, more safe for you. It might be on your hip, it might be closer in. Okay. Otherwise, bringing the arms wide can be a nice choice because it keeps the heart open, so it can give us a little bit more room to breathe. It can help us deepen our breath. Gazing either up at the ceiling or over the left shoulder and feeling the momentum of the breath as we create that length on the left side of the body. And if you did so on the other side, experimenting here with a side stretch, floating the left arm up beside the ear and reaching through the fingertips as the left hip gently pulls down towards the end of your mat. Inhale and exhale. And inhale, arms out wide, knees float to sky. And we'll straighten ourselves out once again. So with or without the block between the knees here. We'll take the hands to the back of the thighs, flex the feet, press the heels right up towards the ceiling. Take my block to the middle height. Just feel the length up through the backs of the legs. The legs might not want to straighten all the way, particularly if the hamstrings are tight. That's okay, the knees can bend. Just keeping that line of energy from the sacrum rooting down to the heels pressing away, the tailbone to the crown of the head. Open your arms out wide again. Keep the low back ribs softening down, shoulder blades softening down. And then see, with the inhale, heels press up. Exhale, float the heels, the lower half of the body to the left. Inhale, float up. Exhale, float the lower half of the body to your right. And continue side to side, moving with your breath rhythm. And you might not go nearly as far with the legs long. It's a little experiment, a bit of engagement in the abdominal muscles, in the obliques, and this time lengthening the backs of the legs. As you inhale, come back through center, we'll bend the knees. Take that block out from in between the thighs and gently draw the thighs in, hug in, give yourself a hug. Right, so curling in, you could keep your shoulder blades grounded, or you can energize your belly to bring your heart towards your thighs, maybe even reach for the heels, maybe nose to knees. But breathing in here as you inhale and exhale to release. Then we're going to create some momentum, a rocking movement to rock ourselves up towards this perched position. And then I'll here keep my hands to the back of the thighs. And I'm gently going to bring my feet hips width distance, really press the inner edges of the feet down so the knees don't flap open. And then I'll keep strong belly here to lean back, almost like to lengthen the arms and keep my spine nice and long. See if you can bring your shoulder blades into the back of your body here and keep the heart opening up. So just approaching, again, another abdominal strengthener, gentle with the feet on the floor. This is like the beginning of a Navasana or a boat pose. And in fact, you could stay. This is a more gentle option with feet on the floor. A little bit more effort. Bring the toes to the floor and even bring big toes to touch. A little bit more effort is to float the shins up, keeping the shins about parallel to the floor. Now this energy really should come from the belly. So if you feel like it's a lot of tension in the jaw, so you can relax the neck and squeeze more, hip points towards one another. You can keep hold with your hands or reach out. Again, that's going to be more effort. So all of this is an invitation. Sometimes more effort can create more length in the low back, so it might be just what you need. But for other people, maybe a little less effort is also what's needed. So what's medicine for one person, I always say, is poison for another person who really doesn't need that medicine. So the poses work the same way. So we'll inhale, exhale, release the feet, sweep the feet over to the side, climb into your hands and knees position. I'm just kind of climbing back to get into the frame. I'm going to bring my blocks closer to my hands here, so that'll be up towards the top of your mat, whatever is the top of your mat. And then right away, the hips over the knees, coming towards a heart chakra or heart melting pose. Start to walk your hands out in front of you. Bring the hips right over the knees and let the forehead come down to the floor. Keep your arms active with the palms pressing down, especially the pinky sides of your hands. And gently roll the inner elbow creases, the biceps up towards the ceiling as the low ends of your shoulder blades drift up the back of your body. A little bit of energy here in your belly so that there's not that deep curve in the low back, but there's more length. And then breathing into all that space, both sides of your body. Receive your inhale fully and let it go. As you inhale, start to walk your hands in. As you do, ease your sitting bones back towards the heels. Let's bring the knees nice and wide here. Toes come to touch, so get the belly in between the thighs. Keep lengthening through the sides of your body, so keep it active, keep a stretch here. Inhale, lengthening out. Exhale, start to walk your hands over towards your left side. Bringing your belly either to the inside of your left thigh or maybe even over top as you stretch that right armpit away from the right hip. Your right hand might come beside your left hand, or it might come on top of that left hand as you breathe into the right side of your body. Right sitting bone reaching back and down to right heel, right armpit peeling away from right hip. As you inhale, walk your hands through center, all the way over to your right side. Left sitting bone now peeling back and down to left heel. Left armpit peeling away from left hip. Send the full expansion of your inhale into your left side ribs. And let it go with the exhalation. Go ahead and walk your hands through center. And then bringing the hands in about halfway, narrow your knees, so long as that feels appropriate on your body. Some people prefer to keep the knees wide for passive child's pose. If that's the case for you, you're welcome to do it. Bringing the knees narrow with the belly on top can allow the low back to round, to flex a little bit. So that can be a nice stretch for some people. But go ahead and let go of effort. Let the weight of the body settle. If the forehead doesn't come down to the floor, you can bring your fists underneath or a blanket or a block. But letting go of the full effort of the body, you can keep your arms beside ears or arms back beside the body, palms spinning up. Now as you breathe here, see if you can direct your breath into the back of your body. That with your expansion, with your inhale, the back of the rib cage can expand back. The space around the sacrum maybe even can shift. And that space at the back of the heart for sure can expand. And we get a little space there, maybe a little bit of relief as we let the breath go. Remind yourself you can return to child's pose any point through practice. And as you're ready, climb your hands out in front of you and peel your way up. And coming towards that hands and knees position. Armpits stack right over the wrists there. Hips stack right over the knees. And if you're using blocks today or books, slide those things towards the top of your mat so they're handy if you need them. Reconnect to your breath in this more neutral orientation. Maybe turn the volume up on your ujjayi sound. And then with your inhale, tilt the pelvis forward, let the belly drop, lift the heart and lift the gaze. As you exhale, point the tail down, lift your navel high, round through the shoulders, tuck the chin, gaze back towards the knees or thighs. Inhale, the pelvis tilts forward, belly drops, heart and gaze lift. Exhale, point the tail down, lift the navel round, and squeeze empty. Continue to move in this pattern. Moving with the rhythm of your own breath. So if your breath rhythm is slower or quicker than mine, you'll follow your rhythm. And really noticing that Om cycle once again. So let's feel the fullness of the inhale. And find the top, not holding the breath in, but then we notice that impulse to release. Then we begin to let the breath go. We tuck the tail. We squeeze empty. There's a depth at the bottom, engagement, but then there's an impulse for new breath. And so all of our movement is bringing us a more profound connection to that breath, a more profound awareness of kind of subtler aspects of our being. In some ways, yoga, we're kind of going down. We're going down beneath the layers or through the layers of our experience. From the most physical, the physical body, to the more subtle. Next time you exhale, walk your hands right out in front of you, one handprint, and begin to circle. Shoulders shift forward of the wrists as you inhale. Exhale, swing the hips to the right and back. Inhale, swing the hips left and through center, and continue. And you can feel comfortable here, even though it's different to have a practice with a screen in front of you. You can feel comfortable even here to close your eyes, because I'll still be really clear with my words, just like I am in the studio. And there's not much to see. You can really just start to follow your own sensation. Particularly here, following your momentum is more important than the form of circling. You might even find a spot that feels really tender, interesting, and stay there a few breaths, or shift side to side around that spot. And you can start to notice in your own body where you're holding tension without any judgment or criticism. But stay there long enough so that you can figure something out. Get curious about it. Breathe into it. And maybe start to move some sensation or move energy into an area that feels really stuck. After a few rounds, we'll find stillness. And here, take blocks under the hands if you're using blocks. Some people prefer not to use the blocks. That's also fine. And we'll step the right leg long behind the body. And then we'll spin that back heel down. So the back foot is like parallel to the back edge of the mat. Sorry, I'm going to really turn my back to you now. The left palm is right about beneath the face. And then energizing the belly. So I'm going to sweep my left foot off to the left. Energizing the belly, pointing the tailbone to the back heel. I'll float this right arm straight up to the ceiling to open up across the chest. Gaze can be where it feels most kind on the neck. That might be down, it might be right out in front, or up to the lifted hand. So that belly is really strong as the left side ribs roll up and the crown of the head reaches away from the tail, and there's all this space across the front of my body. Collarbone's really broad. You can keep that right arm reaching up, or you could take the right arm beside the right ear, palm spinning down as the heart rolls up. With an inhale, float the right arm up. Release the right hand down, rolling again onto the ball of the back foot, and then exhaling to step the foot in between the hands. So the front knee stacks over the ankle. The left thigh softens towards the floor. Press down into the front foot. Press down into the top of the back foot. And really keep your pelvis in an orientation where it's pointing forward. It's not swinging over to the side. You could stay down low here. You could turn your blocks up to a taller height, or even take your hands to the front thigh. Energize the belly, pull in as you lift through your chest. Let the shoulders soften down. Inhaling here and exhale to lower the hands down to the blocks or to the floor. Knee steps back. With an exhale, round. Point the tailbone straight down. Inhale to a neutral, long spine. Extend the left leg long behind you. We'll spin that back heel down. Sweep the back foot, the right foot, back behind you for balance. The right hand is coming beneath the face, armpit over wrist, belly strong, tailbone pointing to back heel. As you're ready, open up. So it's like you have a wingspan. The collarbones extend in either direction. Open up, reach through that lifted arm, and feel how the shoulder blades here can really move into the back of your body. Now, if you don't energize your belly, you're going to feel this deep crunch in your low back. Pull the ribs gently in as you shift your hips forward. The lifted arm can be long, up to the ceiling. It can come beside the ear, palm spinning down. Breathe into sensation. Inhale, float it up. Exhale, release it down. So we'll inhale again, straighten out in this kind of preparation position, and exhale to step the foot between the hands. If that takes a few steps for you, no problem. Just get there when you get there, no rush. So the front knee stacks over the ankle and the right thigh softens towards the floor. Press down into your foundation, whatever is touching the floor. And as you press down, lift your heart. You could turn your blocks up if you want to get a little bit of lift, or hands to thigh. Coming up higher will tend to increase the sensation on the front of the right hip here. So if you want that, you come up a little higher, and you'll work to strengthen your belly so that you don't crunch your low back. So the low back stays long as it can. Press down into your thigh, lift your heart as you inhale, and exhale to lower the hands down and slide the left knee back. With an exhalation, round tailbone points down. Inhale, pelvis tilts forward, belly drops, heart lifts, gaze lifts. Exhale, tuck the toes. Move your blocks out of the way. I'm going to try to move mine forward so you can keep an eye on my hands. But press down into the palms here. Hands shoulder width distance. And as you're ready, lift your sitting bones up high and begin to pedal the feet. Lengthen one leg and then the other. And breathing with this more spontaneous transitional movement, so that all movement rises out of your breath, and it's like a ritualized practice that even small movements are aligning with breath to bring you inward into a deeper connection of your experience. And that's why it's more important for you to follow your own breath than it is for you to follow my breath cues. Because following my breath cues and taking you away from your rhythm is drawing you outward. And that's not the nature or the aim of yoga practice. So slowly find your stillness with your sitting bones lifting up high. And if your hamstrings are tight, you know that you'll bend the knees a little bit here, because bending the knees will help to create that hinge, that tilt in the pelvis. Even if knees are bent, heels reach back and down. Root your palms, wrap your biceps up towards the ceiling. So inner elbow creases wrap up, and this is your downward facing dog. Okay, so arriving here. Now with an inhale, ripple forward. Arrive in a high plank. Get hips, ribs, shoulders in line. Root your palms. As you exhale, lift your hips and find that downward facing dog once again. Inhale, use the whole breath to arrive. Exhale, hips high. Hard to follow that breath rhythm, particularly while you're talking. Inhale, ripple forward. Impossible, back. And arrive. And then stay here. So keep your knees lifted, or if it's more appropriate, lower them. Either way. But energize your belly. Root your palms. Length through the crown of the head. And now everyone lower the knees, even if they're lifted. We'll shift the shoulders forward. Inhale, lift the tail, so it's that curve in the low back. Exhale, bend the elbows. Keep the tailbone lifting, but squeeze elbows in. Reach your chin out. Ashta Pranam. Knees, chest, chin. Press off of the toes as you come forward onto the pubic bone and the tops of the feet, and lift the heart. This is a baby cobra. As you exhale, lower down. Make a pillow with your hands. Inch the feet back so you get more space in the front of the hip points. Energize the lower half of your body. Press tops of the feet down. Tops of the feet down. Tops of the feet down so firmly. Kneecaps lift. Inner thighs roll up towards the ceiling. Okay, length from the tailbone up to the crown of the head. And just start to peel the head, the shoulders up away from the mat a little bit. The elbows are out open wide, but we're just trying to feel that space across the chest. Okay. So I'm going to keep my left forearm in. My elbow is bent about a 45-degree angle. I'm going to reach my right arm out long, pinky side of my hand down on the mat, or beyond the mat, and thumb to the sky. And I'm going to reach out through those right fingertips and start to float that right arm up, sort of towards shoulder height. Okay, press my pubic bone down. Press your pubic bone down. Press your hip points down. And then really press that right foot down. Start to float your left leg long. Reaching back the left toes. Reaching through your right fingertips. The heart lifts, but no need to reach with the chin. In fact, the neck could be long with the chin tucked in. Inhale and exhale to lower. And then we'll bend that right elbow in 45-degree angle. Extend the left arm long. Both feet root down. Reach out through your left fingertips. Float your left arm up about shoulder height. I'm going to press down into that left foot. Float the right foot up. Reach, reach, reach through the toes. As you do this, see if you can keep that contact, both hip points on the mat. So your abdominal muscles are active here. Your inner thighs are active. Inhale and exhale. Let it go. Now, both arms long beside the ears, both feet rooting down, hip points grounding. Inhale, reach through your fingertips, float your arms up. It might just be a few inches, it might be higher. And reach back through your toes, float your legs up. So your abdominal muscles very active. Get more length in the sides of your body as you inhale. Exhale, let it go. Make a pillow with your hands, bend your knees. Let that forehead come to the hands and windshield wiper your feet side to side. So the lower half of your body going side to side, and notice how that feels on around your sacrum at your low back. And getting a little mobility in those SI joints. Let your legs come long. Forehead to floor, slide your hands beside the rib cage, tuck your toes. You're really taking your time here. You take as much time as you need to lengthen and stretch through the low back. That might feel really good, just to take a few breaths there. And as you're ready, float your sitting bones high, downward facing dog. And really slowly start to walk your feet towards the top of your mat. You'll end up at the top of the mat in a forward fold, passive. You'll stay facing the top of your mat I'm going to turn this way just so that I'll be more centered on my screen here. Let the head heavy, arms heavy, knees soft, feet about hips width distance, and just let it all go and come back to your Ujjayi breath and feel that breath rhythm, particularly how the inhale spills over into an exhale. And swaying can be nice here, or shaking the head yes or no, or even holding the elbows to let the extra weight draw the torso forward towards the floor and create some length, relief in the low back. Bend into your knees, ground your heels, and as you're ready, inhale to ripple up to stand. Take your time to arrive. Roll your shoulders. And here we are. So finding mountain pose at the very top of the mat, the top of your mat. You can keep your feet hips width. You could bring them in to touch as your choice. But the feet parallel. Rooting balls of feet, rooting heels. Guiding tailbone straight down. Inner thighs roll in and back. Outer thighs roll out and back. So there's a lot of energy here in the center of the body to keep us grounded and rooted. But from that rootedness, grow tall. Lengthening, lifting up through the crown of the head. And let the shoulders soften down, arms beside. So the front of the body is open as we roll the upper arm bones open. Reconnect with your breath here. Remind yourself that all movement can arise out of that rhythm. That all of our postures that we arrive into are another way of embodying that Om cycle. The postures have a beginning as we place the body into a certain position. They have a middle or a sustaining energy as we breathe into the effort, engage our muscles to stay. And they have a dissolving. They have a transition out. And through all of those phases of the postures, we maintain breath. So that's the timeless aspect, or that which sustains all. Okay. With your next inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Palms pressed, gaze lifts. Exhale, dive. Hands come right down through the center line. Release the head, release the hands. Dare weight forward on the feet. Inhale, hands to shins, rise halfway. Use the whole breath to get there. And exhale to fold deeply, Uttanasana. Release head and hands. Inhale, sweep the arms out. Rise all the way up with an inhale, palms press. Exhale to gather your hands to the heart to release your arms. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up, palms press. Exhale, dive forward all the way down. Release the head, the hands, dare weight forward. Inhale, hands to shins. Use the whole breath to rise up. Exhale, now soften the knees. So you're going to stay, but I'm going to turn this way so you can see me and step the left foot back with that exhale. So blocks under the hands or fingertips to floor. Back heel presses back. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, lengthen the front leg. Guide that right hip point back. Inhale, bend the knees. Sink the hips, lift. Open through the chest. Exhale, lengthen your front leg. Peel right hip point back. Inhale, bend the knee. Lift and open through the chest. Exhale, lengthen and breathe. Guiding right hip back. Reach out through the crown of your head. You can think more of creating a tabletop with your spine here than really squeezing belly towards thigh. And work to lengthen the legs, pressing the back heel back. See if you can get relief in your shoulders just by creating length in the back of the neck, that the shoulder blades slide away from the ears. Here as you inhale, rebend your front knee and lower your back knee gently to the mat. Untuck those back toes. You could stay where you are, or you could ground into your foundation so firmly you sweep your arms beside your ears. Palms spin in, shoulders slide down. The inner thighs squeeze in to give you that strength in the core of the body, to give you a little bit more upward lifting energy when we lift the heart. As you exhale, you'll lower your hands down, tuck your back toes, lift the back knee up, and exhale, step forward. Folding in half, I'll face you. Inhale, hands to shins, rise up. Exhale, hinge and fold, soften the knees. I'm going to turn this way so you can see me again. Back heel presses back. And step that right foot back now. Step the right foot back. So lift through your chest as you inhale, exhale, lengthen the front leg. Peel left hip point up and back. Inhale, bend the knee, sink the hips, lift the heart. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale, bend the knee, sink the hips, lift the heart. Exhale, lengthen and breathe, reaching tailbone back, crown of head forward. Inner thighs roll in and back, armpits over wrists, breathing lengthen to the sides of your body. Feeling sensation as you inhale, rebend that front knee and lift the heart. Lower your back knee gently to the floor, untuck the toes, and again, you can stay more gentle here. Or sweep the arms forward and up as you inhale, and breathe here. And feel your own strength as you press down into the foundation, the front foot, top of back foot. As you work to engage inner thighs and hug your hip points, engage deep abdominal muscle, maybe even lifting up, heart a little higher, sides of the body lengthening. Exhale to lower the hands down. Tuck your back toes, back knee lifts up with an inhale. Exhale, step that back foot forward. Fold deeply in half. Inhale, hands to shins, rise up. Exhale, fold deeply. Here you are at the top of your mat. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Palms press, gaze lifts. Exhale, hands to heart. Release the arms. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Palms press. Exhale, dive forward all the way down. Inhale, rise halfway. As you exhale this time, you're at the top of your mat. You're going to soften your knees, ground your palms, step back to a high plank and pause. And some people like to lower their knees right away, stay in a modified plank, and some people like to stay in the plank with knees lifted. Wherever you are, bring hips, ribs, shoulders in line. Root your palms, roll your inner elbow creases forward. I'll invite you to practice Chaturanga Dandasana. If that's a part of your practice, you can do it with or without your knees. Inhale to find length in the spine, strong belly. Exhale to bend the elbows into the side ribs as you lower in one plane. Tops of the feet to the floor. With your inhale, scoop your heart and lift your kneecaps. The inner thighs roll up as the shoulders plug in and down. Exhale, tuck the chin, hips high. Downward facing dog. We'll inhale fully. Exhale completely. Receive a few breaths here. Really working to lift the tail, to tilt the pelvis, to press the mat away, to look back to the knees or thighs. And to feel the effort here is a different kind of discomfort. But that's one of the discomforts that we try to stay with a little bit in yoga. We breathe into effort and discomfort, just like we breathe into the tight part of the hamstring or whatever it might be that we're stretching. So that we can move energy in that way as well. We can develop a little bit more familiarity with our growth edges and maybe even move them a little bit. With an inhale, rise to the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend your knees, look between the hands. It could be a step or hop, it could be a gentle walk to the top of the mat, but arrive halfway up, long spine. Exhale, fold deep. Inhale, sweep the arms out, rise all the way up, palms press, gaze lifts. Exhale, hands to heart center. Release the arms. With an inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, sweep the arms up. Chair pose Utkatasana. Reaching your sitting bones back and down as you lift and open through your chest. And with an inhale, lengthen the legs, press palms, fold, empty out all the way down to your Uttanasana fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, soften the knees, ground the palms, step back one foot, then the other. It's your choice how you move through these vinyasa sequences. If you skip them, that's also a really nice choice, or you find some other variation. With an inhale, float your right leg long. Exhale, step that right foot in between the hands, right inside the right thumb, and spin your back heel down. And if that step took you maybe a few breaths, that's okay. Warrior one as we rise up. Hips, ribs, shoulders orienting forward towards the top of the mat. Finding a groundedness in the foundation of the body. Right hip gently moves back as left rolls forward. And then a real strong belly, so as we press down into the lower half, into the foundation, we can also find that upward lifting momentum. With an exhale, press palms, hands to heart. Spin open to your left side. Right foot, front foot, heel lines now with back heel or back arch. And then arms come out wide to a T. Press into the front foot. Tailbone roots down, crown of head rises. Look over that front hand and spread out your breath. Reach forward as you inhale. Bring the forearm to the thigh. Let this left arm sweep beside the ear, palm spinning down. Tailbone points to the back heel, heart rolls to the sky. Your gaze could be where it feels kind, up or down, whatever feels most kind. And as you're ready, sweep the left arm up, release both hands down. Frame your front foot, step back. Your choice. You could skip the Vinyasa sequence. You could move through it, moving with the rhythm of your own breath. A Vinyasa sequence of your choice. Now, as you arrive in your downward facing dog, inhale right away, left leg up. Exhale, step it through. And when we're coming to a warrior one, we don't necessarily want to line up the heels. Many people find heel with a space and then heel is more kind on the hips. Now I can bend into that front knee. I can guide the left hip back gently and roll the right hip forward and keep lifting up towards the sky. So I'm going to turn around just so that my left foot forward, I'm facing this way. And lift up. As you exhale, press palms, hands to heart. Open up warrior two, front heel to back heel or back arch. Arms wide, tailbone points down, crown of head rises. Rooting foundation to grow tall, reach over front leg. Forearm to thigh, sweep that right arm beside the ear, palm spinning down. Okay, lengthening the side of the body. As you're ready, sweep the right arm straight up. Release both hands down, step back, move through a Vinyasa sequence, or skip it. And breathe here. Go ahead and lower the knees for just a moment. Keep your hips right over your knees, untuck your toes. Start to walk your hands out long in front of you. So coming to heart chakra, heart melting pose we practiced earlier, you can lower the forehead again, or you could keep your gaze lifted. Keeping the gaze lifted, of course, is going to give you a little bit more opening across the chest, but you'll do what feels most appropriate for you. Pressing down pinky sides of the hands, keeping hips over knees and belly slightly engaged. As you inhale, start to walk your hands in. And then round here with an exhale. Point your tail down, tuck your chin. And kind of counter that opening in the front of the body with an opening in the back of the body. And then come to a neutral spine, tuck your toes. You find your downward facing dog, hips high. Breathe in that downward dog. I'm going to turn to face the opposite way. So with an inhale, float your right leg long. Exhale to step that right foot between your hands. Spin your back heel down. Now we're rising into a warrior two. So line up front heel to back heel or back arch. Lead with your left arm as you rise all the way up. Front knee bends. Arms out wide. Press into the front foot. Press down outer edge of front foot particularly to keep that right outer thigh rolling out and down. And expand in all directions. As you exhale, take your hands to your hips, lengthen the front leg, and now adjust your feet so that your feet are both facing the same direction, but then we're going to bring the heels in. So the heels come in towards one another, toes turn out. Bend the knees so they reach out over the center line of the foot and lengthen the legs. So I'm going to do that a few times. So you can drop your tailbone straight down. Good. It's an inhale to bend. Exhale to lengthen. And this next time as we bend, we're going to take the hands to the thighs, fingers rolling in, and hinge forward. And see if you can keep your knees tracking over the center line of your feet. Drop your left shoulder. I'm going to mirror you. In and down, look to your right. And then inhale back to center. Drop your right shoulder in and down, look towards your left. Inhale through center and continue. So go side to side. Moving with the rhythm of your breath. And the next time you drop that right shoulder in and down, look to your left, stay there. Roll your right side ribs a little bit further to the left side. Press into the outer edge of both feet. And with an inhale, come through center. Exhale, lengthen the legs. Hands to hips. Turn your heels out. Your feet are either parallel or toes turn in. Inhale to lift the heart and exhale, hinge and fold. And release your hands to the floor. So you're coming just to a tabletop length. And then start to walk your hands over towards your right foot. As you walk your hands to the right foot, don't move the feet. Keep the left sitting bone lifting up and back and hinging over to that right side. Taking the left hand to the outer right ankle. Maybe you stay. Maybe you really roll those left side ribs to the inner right thigh as you lift your left sitting bone up and back. Daring weight forward on your feet. You could stay there, or you could take your right hand to your right hip and then lengthen out through your spine. Roll your heart towards the right side of your mat. And if you feel really steady, even lift your right arm up. Gaze up. Inhale and exhale to release the right hand. Walk your hands through center. Rise up about halfway. And exhale to soften your right knee and pivot to face the top of your mat. So I'm going to go this way so you can see me. So your right foot is forward and you'll end up in that lunge. Now take your right hand to the right ankle and skip your right foot back so the foot is under the right hip. Now ground your left palm into the mat and roll onto the pinky sides of both feet. You could keep both hands on the mat here and really just work to stretch that outer right hip. If you feel steady, you want a little more effort, press into the left palm. Make sure your hand is kind of, your wrist is below your hand is really below your mouth, so that the wrist is below the armpit. And if you feel steady, lift your right arm up, lift your hips up, really flex both feet. Some people here, this is going to be more effort, a lot more effort, you could stay. Some people here really flex that back foot, step the right foot back. Side plank, lift up, 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 up. And then maybe go over. Inhale, float up, release both hands down, lift the hips high. Totally your choice. You want a Vinyasa sequence here, you'll flow through it. Your choice. You can skip it. With your inhale, float your left leg long and do the left side. So I'm going to turn around, left leg long, exhale. Step between the hands, back heel spins down. Lead with your right arm as you rise, warrior two. Right, tailbone roots down, spreading out either direction. Hands to hips, lengthen the legs. Feet turn so they face the same direction, but then the heels come in. So now when we bend the knees over the center line of the feet, they don't knock in. We're really working to keep our tailbone lengthening down. The rest of the body nice and long. This next time we'll inhale, bend the knees, keep the outer edges of the feet rooting, hinge forward, inhale, lengthen the spine, exhale, drop your left shoulder in and down, look to your right, inhale through center, exhale, drop your right shoulder in and down, look to your left, inhale, center, go ahead and move side to side, keep the lower half of your body strong, and active. Move with your breath. Feel the discomfort of effort. Okay, then we'll come through center. Let that left shoulder drop, look to your right and breathe. Keep pressing outer edges of your feet. So you want these side ribs to wrap around, getting more rotation in your spine. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, lengthen the legs. Heels come out. Toes, feet can be parallel, toes turn in. Hands to hips, lift your heart with an inhale, exhale, hinge and fold. Hands come about under the shoulders, get length, a little more length in the spine. And then start to walk your hands towards that. Now I'm mirroring you. Left leg, left foot, right side ribs wrap towards the left thigh. Breathe here, daring weight forward in the feet. And maybe you take your right hand to the outer left ankle and drawing you closer to your thigh. You can keep your hands on the floor grounded, or you can slide your left hand to the left hip to get a little bit of more rotation, lengthening your spine out and peeling away from the thigh. The crown of the head comes away from the tailbone as you roll your heart over to your left side. And if you feel really steady, float that left arm up. Inhale, exhale, release it down. Climb your hands through center, rise about halfway up. So as you exhale, soften your left knee. You'll start to walk your hands towards that top of your mat once again. The left foot is still forward. And arriving here, press the back heel back. Heart lifts as you inhale. Now, ground your right palm, left hand to left ankle. Slide that left foot back about 6 inches or so it falls under the left hip. Now you've been here before. Root your right palm, make sure shoulder over wrist. And flexing both feet, roll onto the pinky sides of both feet. You can keep both hands on the mat here, just keeping a stretch on that, making it more a stretch on the outer hip, less balance. If you want to work towards, say, the initial arm balance practice, sweep the left arm straight up and really lift up so that you don't have a lot of weight coming down into the hand and shoulder. And so you'll stay there, or really more effort, and if you want more effort, that might be a good thing. If you don't, then skip this part. You'll step your left foot back, tailbone points back, belly is really strong. That right arm could even sweep beside the ear, or the left arm rather. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, left hand comes down, hips lift high. Your choice, you flow through a sequence or skip it. Wherever you are, moving with your breath and arriving, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, ripple all the way forward to your high plank and then lower all the way down. So you come to lie on your belly here. Tops of your feet rooting down. Arms long beside the body. Press down the tops of the feet so firmly, kneecaps lift up. Relax your butt. Hip points, pubic bone grounding. With an inhale, roll your shoulders up and back. Lift your heart, lift your head. Exhale here. Inhale, reach back through your toes, float your legs up. Inner thighs lead the way. Exhale here. Inhale, reach up. Arms sweep up. You can stay long, extending in these directions, or clasp your hands, interlace your fingers. For Shalabhasana pose, this is one variation of that shape. Arms in that case peel away from the back of the body. Everything lifts as you inhale. Exhale, lower down. Pillow with your hands. Shift your hips side to side. Ooh, my foot got a cramp. That happens, stretch it out. So setting up once again for that locust pose, arms beside you. I'll offer another variation, which is Dhanurasana. So if Dhanurasana is appropriate for you, you'll go for it. If you feel like it's not just the right thing, you'll stick with locust pose. And with your next inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift heart, head, arms, and legs. Again, stay locust pose or with the hands clasped. Or bend your knees and take hold of outer ankles or outer edges of the feet. And here you really want to draw your inner thighs towards one another as you kick your shins back and point your toes to the sky. So you can either point your toes or flex the feet or move back and forth between the two. Inner thighs active, heart lifts, inhale, and exhale to lower. Letting go of the feet, hard to talk in that pose. Make a pillow with your hands and then bend your knees, windshield wiper the feet side to side. So you can come right through center, hands beside the ribs, very gently shift yourself up to sit. You'll come to sit facing the top of your mat. Okay. So facing the top of the mat, legs extend out long. You might like to have a folded blanket nearby here, or your towel. Folding up a towel and placing under the sitting bones, giving you a little bit of height, a little bit of lift, so that both sitting bones can ground down and the spine can lengthen. And then go ahead and bend your right knee, gonna mirror you. Bring your right foot to the outside of your left thigh. Sweep your left arm around that right thigh. Sit tall as you inhale. And exhale to twist to your right. Right hand comes behind you. Left leg is long. Flex that left foot. Shoulder blades press the back of the body, breathing here. Inhale and exhale to unravel all of that. We'll place the right foot to the inner left thigh. Right knee drifts wide. Flex your left foot. Sit tall as you inhale. Exhale, a little twist over to that left side. Hinge and fold. Walk the hands out and breathe. And down you Shirshasana, you want to find a little bit more length. It's like you're finding length in the outer hip. As you guide your left hip back a little bit, you press that left heel away and roll the rib cage towards the inner thigh and breathe. And your hands can come anywhere. It doesn't have to touch the foot. That really depends on your proportions. As you inhale, rise all the way up. Knee to the sky, leg long. Bend your left knee, left foot comes in, left foot to the outside of right thigh. Sweep the right arm around, hug in, sit tall. Twist open to your left. Breathe here. So each breath is like a little more inhale, a little more lift as you inhale, a little more rotation as you exhale. Exhaling to unravel all of that. Place the foot to the inner thigh, let the knee drift wide. Flex your right foot, sit tall as you inhale. Exhale, rotation to your right, hinge and fold. Flex the foot. See if you can get a little longer on the outer hip. Notice if that gives you a little bit more in the glute, a little more sensation in the glutes. Breathing into whatever you feel. And so you might be like here. So long as you're feeling sensation, doesn't matter how close to the leg you get. Okay. And as you inhale, rise all the way up. Knee to sky, legs long. Slide off of your blanket here. Blanket to the side. Bend the knees. Bring your feet wide. Begin to windshield wiper side to side. Moving with your breath. Let it feel good. Outer hips, inner thighs, glutes. Next time you drift the knees over to your right side, follow the momentum. Walk your hands back there. Lengthen and walk your hands out. Come to the forearms. You could go down further. You could even take a block under the chest and rest your body on that, or your forehead, under your forehead, and breathe. Wherever you are, it's a little bit of ringing out here at the end of practice. Inhale, climb back up onto your palms and unravel, and we'll sweep the knees the other way and follow that momentum all the way back. You could stay up high on your palms, or you could go down to your forearms. You could go down further and breathe, ringing out. So it's like a ringing out anything extra. Yoga practice sometimes described as, or there's an expression in Sanskrit, neti, not this. It's we're stripping away. We're kind of going down through the layers of our being to find what is the essential, what is essence, what is at the core. So the ringing out at the end of practice is really an expression of that. Really exhale completely all the way out. The next time you inhale, climb onto your palms and unravel and come to face forward. All right, friends, we're going to settle into a Shavasana shape. You're in the comfort of your own home, so if you have a place you would like to set up for Shavasana, go ahead and bring your tablet or your laptop into bed with you as I talk you through. Or you can set up in a traditional Shavasana on your mat, that's fine too. You might like to take a blanket, roll it up, place the rolled blanket under the backs of the knees. Can feel nice to put a little ripple of a blanket under the back of the head, just like a ripple, rather under the back of the neck. So your head would go in the flat part. That can fill in the curve of your neck so that you can relax with more ease. Blocks, pillows under the backs of the knees can also work if your low back is tender. Dim the lights, drape something over the eyes, and then go ahead and relax. So I'm going to get up so I don't fall asleep, but you stay there. Receive your inhalation fully. Open the mouth, let it out with a sigh. Let go of the full weight of your body. Let go of the effort of your practice. Let go of the effort of Ujjayi breath. Let go of the effort to watch sensation. Allowing the breath now to just be as it is, flowing naturally into all of the open spaces you have created through your practice. And feel comfortable here to close your eyes or keep a soft focus at the ceiling overhead. And settling here into stillness and silence. children's book, Comfortable with Uncertainty, which is a good book for the current time, for sure. This chapter is called The Wisdom of No Escape. The central question of a warrior's training is not how we avoid uncertainty and fear, but how we relate to discomfort. How do we practice with difficulty, with our emotions, with the unpredictable encounters of an ordinary day? For those of us with a hunger to know the truth, painful emotions are like flags going up that say you're stuck. We regard disappointment, embarrassment, irritation, fear as moments that show us we're holding back, how we're shutting down. Such uncomfortable feelings are messages that tell us to perk up and lean into a situation when we'd rather cave in and back away. When the flag goes up, we have an opportunity. We can stay with our painful emotion instead of spinning out. Staying is how we get the hang of gently catching ourselves when we're about to let resentment harden into blame, righteousness, or alienation. It's also how we keep from smoothing things over by talking ourselves into a sense of relief or inspiration. This is easier said than done. Ordinarily, we are swept away by habitual momentum. We don't interrupt our patterns even slightly. With practice, however, we learn to stay with a broken heart, stay with a nameless fear, stay with the desire for revenge. Sticking with uncertainty is how we learn to relax in the midst of chaos. How we learn to be cool when the ground beneath us suddenly disappears. We can bring ourselves back to the spiritual path countless times every day by exercising our willingness to rest in the uncertainty of the present moment over and over again. Receive your inhalation fully. Open the mouth, let it out. Continue to deepen your breath. Allow your awareness of your breath to bring you back into an awareness of your physical body. Fingers, toes, some gentle movement there. Beginning to grow the movement into the hands and the feet, the wrists and the ankles, rocking the head side to side. And finally bending the knees to walk the feet in. Gently roll over onto your right side. You can take another few breaths there to be still, to just feel the pulse of practice, the resonance. Then press down into your palms as you're ready. Peel your way up to sit, finding a seat facing the top of your mat. Feel comfortable to keep the eyes closed, maybe place a hand over the heart, feel that connection, heartbeat, breath, settling into this moment. This is the end of practice, of course, it's the dissolving phase, the end of the Om cycle of practice. But also then a new threshold, a new start to your day, maybe sort of a feeling of reset for the spirit. And there's a sense that the experience, collective experience we're having is a dissolving of some sort. We don't know what. It will be the new growth. But having an opportunity to practice over and over again, to embody the Om cycle, to rest in the cycle of things, to acknowledge that the dissolving is a part of the process. To be with the discomfort of not knowing. In all of these ways, our yoga practice can support us right now, can help us grow as individuals and as a collective community. Consider here setting some intention for the rest of your day. It might be a promise to yourself of As Pema Chodron said, we can return to a spiritual path over and over each time we catch ourselves when we're spiraling out. Just stay with the discomfort, stay with the fear, the anxiety, whatever it is, just a moment, and long enough to get curious about it. And then comfort yourself by knowing it's a dissolving. It's a dissolving, and then there's something else that will come. Let's conclude with the sound and the vibration of Om together, just one time. And you can take your hands to the heart. You can find a mudra, palm to palm, if you'd like. And gently bow your head, close the eyes. Let's inhale. With an inhalation, lift your heart, lift your gaze, gesture inviting goodness and light. Exhale to fold, bowing your fold, bow the head, sealing in your practice. Namaste. Thanks, friends. I always feel better after teaching yoga. I hope to bring you more videos. Keep in touch with me. Thanks.